I am going to get started, and then all the stragglers can pop in, and or questions that are coming in from there. We'll just keep answering as we go, right? So again, good evening, everyone. Welcome, newbies. Anybody who's first time on the Truth Tribe call, welcome to Facebook, as well as my Zoomers. I'm Dawn Thompson, and this is the Truth Tribe. And as you know, we look at the universal truths and not just things happening on the planet, but I try to correlate the two so that we can start applying ourselves to the bigger purpose and our bigger purpose and living out our truth. So tonight's topics are on drama stew, which I had mentioned earlier was in my first book, Drama Detox. So we're going to talk a little bit about how it's applying to the world right now, and then waves of truth. So I just want to remind you guys that I love you. And I want to remind you that you are all perfect, no matter what comes up in these calls. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not good there. Or, oh my gosh, I got to work on that. Reminding yourselves that you are all perfect. And as I go onto the grid and I meditate and I ask for guidance, I am pouring love on you guys daily. And my guides today kind of were throwing at, again, drama. And I was having these conversations, and they were actually saying more chaos, right? Chaos is created externally in our mind, as opposed to what's really in our heart. We already know what to do. And so it kind of stirred up this whole drama detox. So drama and waves of truth were coming up. And I tell everybody that I'm not a big fan of talking about having conversations about what's going on. But so many people have been asking me they've been reaching out for guidance on the current climate, right, in the election. And I have been very, very adamant and very, very clear that I don't do political discussions because I don't see it that way. So I want to share with you how I am seeing on a very, very minimal level, and then we're going to move into the planets and into the cosmos, into the sky. I have stated over and over, this whole thing going on has nothing to do with these people that you're all looking at, okay? Aside from energy. Energy, energy, energy. We are right now living the Phoenix. So anyone who understands what the Phoenix is, we are literally living through the Phoenix, okay? So we are in the greatest consciousnness, and I've taught you guys consciousness through all the past calls. So if you don't know the consciousness scale, you can go on my website, look at it again. But we are in the greatest consciousness awakening in history. And I'm trying to remind everybody that it's vibration and we're gonna be okay. So this is the symbolic of the Phoenix. It's coming out of the ashes, right? Everything is crashing and burning and ending and breaking, and those are the ashes coming out. And we're getting to the end, and we're getting there, right? Very planetarily, the planets are shifting, and they've started to burn down all these structures. And so all that is crashing now is going to start being lit up into the new. And the funny part that I like to share with everybody is we brought it on ourselves, right? We did this to ourselves. And the reason I say that is because I know personally, many of you guys on this call that have worked with me personally have been doing healing work and increasing your self-help consciousness levels for years. Now I want you to imagine that there's millions of you doing the same light work that you've been doing, okay? So now that you're all shining brighter and we are all lit up, right? And that's it. That's what's happened. So I don't want you guys to get upset when you're thinking about, oh my gosh, all these things that I know, they've all been crashing. There are millions of us lighting up the planet right now, all around the globe. The whole globe is full of light, right? And so, don't get upset when many things that or you're used to, or you're habitually used to, or you're patterned into, when they crash, because I only want you to go, all right, I need to be ready to receive the new and lighter love. Simply ask the universe and source, right? Does this thing, person, or event that you're experiencing make me feel amazing? I mean, and that's kind of energetically feeling, right? Or does it make me feel fearful of being amazing? Does it stop you from being amazing, or does it make you feel like you could be amazing? It's like, that's the vibrational energy that we're all feeling, right? So it's funny because people keep asking me about this, and I don't really feel a whole lot about the presidency, but a lot of you know my husband and I go back and forth from the Portland airport. We live in Washington up there too, but I get feisty over the Oregon governor being weird, right? Yours might be your spouse. Yours might be one of the candidates, might be your best friend, might be your coworker. This is just energy. It's not right or wrong, but we keep looking at what the TV and the energy they want you to focus on. That's not how this thing's going. That's not how this thing works, right? So I want you guys to make sure you understand that this has nothing to do with what they're asking you to look at. The TVs, the screens, whatever you're looking at, a digital, okay? And I taught you last time, if it's not empowering your knowledge and wisdom, or you're not looking for 10 times the knowledge, it's time for you to go look for more knowledge, right? So there's no right and wrong. How you look at anything happening, does it raise your ability to be more amazing, or does it not? And then you need to look for a shift. And that's what we're going to move into. Okay. So that's my take on what's happening on the planet. That's my take of where it's going. And that's my take where if you can stop looking at things as people and start looking at vibration and energy and how it feels and where it's going, it's going to change the game. All right. So let's begin with the cosmos. Let's talk about this week at a glance. Okay. So the first thing I want you guys to pay attention to, or at least understand that is happening, which is kind of exciting, is Pluto. Okay, so we talked about those 3 planets that were retrograde. They were moving forward. One was on top of each other. Jupiter was on top of Saturn. It's now kind of pushing its way out past those 2. And what happened is Pluto's been up in the sky of one of these 3 planets, and they're all in Capricorn. And Capricorn rules truth, government, governments, governing, honesty, governing buildings, all kinds of facilities, institutions, that kind of stuff, career. And so it's been sitting in Pluto, and Pluto goes, it takes 15 years to get through a sign. And so it's kind of at the end of Capricorn. It's at 23 degrees. So we got about till 2023, 2 more years for it to get into, and it's going to start moving into Aquarius as I keep preparing you guys, okay? Because Pluto is the planet of the Phoenix, it's the death and rebirth planet, okay? So this planet is the planet of death and rebirth. And so those of you fighting, letting things die and allowing them to come back into rebirth or regeneration or rebuilding, that's what's happening. So in the sky, when we look at Phoenix, the Phoenix planet, I'm going to call it the Phoenix planet, right? It's the planet of Pluto, and it takes 15 years. So it's been breaking down governments, been breaking down situations. It's been rising up truth from corporate to digital to anything governing, anything institutions. So schools, I'm just going to call them schools of some sort, any kind of like that. It's going to start to break down those systems of truth, and it's going to be the destruction of government buildings, government systems, control, power, and it's in its last degrees of Pluto, right? And so it will put finality to the government that you know. Okay, so the government that you all know is starting to implode and everybody's mad. And I'm like, good, let's let it all go. Let's rebuild. So Pluto being the planet of the Phoenix, right? It's helping humans go through death of what doesn't work and rebirth into the new. So this is kind of cool, even though we're all throwing temper tantrums and we're like, I don't like it, I don't like it. Instead of fighting with each other, we got to go, you know what? We got to let some of this stuff end. We got to let systems end. We got to let the old die. We need to bring in new. That's opening it up. Now, it also, Pluto rules psychology. So we've been changing the way we see things, what we think about things. We've been programmed with psychology. So you got to understand, I am a big advocate of turning your TVs off. Stop watching TV because it is psychologically based. They know what, have you ever remember way back in the day, I'm aging myself, but they would play commercials like late at night for like Burger King and stuff and make you hungry. And then you'd go get Burger King. They know how to program the psychology. Now it's drugs, which you all know I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the programming of the drug companies. In Europe and other countries, it's illegal to post or to program medical and medicines on the TV. You can just watch TV, but you can't see medicine. And so any sort of pharmaceuticals are not allowed on that programming. And so that's what's fascinating. And so our culture around the planet, psychology is also being asked for you to review deep secrets and beliefs. And your beliefs can be as simple as I love donuts and they're not good for me anymore. I'm not going to give you this grander little piece. It's what you need to heal. So secrets and beliefs are coming up, as well as globally government, because I told you of it being in Capricorn, government secrets and government beliefs. So cracked foundations are getting rebooted into this death and rebirth through this November theme. Now we're almost hitting Sagittarian energy on the 21st. Okay. So that's when we're going to start getting into law stuff, because Sagittarius rules the law. Okay. So that's just my kicker on Pluto in Capricorn. You guys need to prepare for the next 2 years. That government is going to break down no matter what, no matter who. I told you, you've got to quit looking at candidates and people in general. I don't care where you're being told to look. Stop looking at them as people, not looking, and I don't mean them in general, the political candidates, but all people that are on screens and in your life. Look at them energetically. Okay. Next planet that's going to get tripped up, Neptune. Remember I told you all those 6 planets were in retrograde for so long. Neptune goes out of retrograde November 27th. So like right after, well, Thanksgiving. Okay. So Neptune is the planet of, it rules Pisces. So it rules the mind. Again, more psychology, but it rules spirituality, intuition, psychic ability, past lives. So a lot of past life energy is coming up. Look at our past lives of all these generations of persecution and control and wars and all that's coming up. Well, now Pisces is showing up and going, hey, do you remember all that energy? You don't, but let's remind you. So now we're looking at Neptune going out of retrograde. It's going to start pulling forward, and it's going to, now you remember the past. Now I'm going to go out of retrograde, and I'm going to ignite more delusion, because Pisces is indecision. Okay. It's, I want it, I don't, I should, I shouldn't. Should we do this? Should we think this is a good idea? Not a good idea. That's the downfall of Pisces. We don't want to make decisions. The good news about this Neptunian forward motion energy is that it's creativity and it's spirituality and it's intuition. And remember, I told you we are in the biggest spiritual poverty of our ever. I can't believe how spiritually locked up and shut off we are, right? And we have such a connection to the grid, to the universe, to the cosmos. It's unbelievable now. And we're all shut down. Okay. So this is Neptune igniting all this. And so it's bringing now strength when you ask spirit, source, God, universal energy for help. So this is the good news, is Pisces moving forward. If we don't get stuck in the I should, I shouldn't, I should, I shouldn't, and we utilize it for our spiritual intuition and higher truth for help, it's going to help us. But you've got to ask. You know, if you're uncomfortable with what's happening, show me a better way to live. Source, God, universe, whoever. Okay. So this is where the spiritual poverty that I am just, I'm going to keep pushing through this course and all my other courses to open ourselves up to this universal, the matrix grid, and reset, right? This spiritual poverty now can be reset and brought to our highest realms and supported by this source, love, God, universal energy, consciousness, and bring us into oneness and universal love, right? So waves of truth, this is the waves, which is again, Pisces. I want it, I don't, I'm in, I'm out, I should, I shouldn't, it's good, it's not good, it's good. Those are the waves of truth that are going to get released out into the world. And when you settle down, you're like, okay, this is it, we got this, right? Then it releases another truth, and you're like, and then it settles, and then another truth, another wave of truth comes in, and it's like ebbing and flowing in and out. Because if it all slammed onto you, it would overwhelm you, it would upset you, it would scare you, it would be so separated from your current truth that it would almost be more detrimental to people. Okay, so this is why they're coming in as waves of truth. Here's another truth. Here's another truth. You don't have to like them. Most people don't, because most new waves of truth What do? They trip up our own inner truth because we've been programmed to think something, feel something, know something, and we get habitual. Okay. So the last planet I'm going to go over, even though we'll go over it again next week, is the lunar eclipse, because this is another eclipse coming in this month of November, which is the Scorpion planet energy, even though we're going to move into Sagittarius 21. And it's on the 30th. So the 20th and the 27th and the 30th are really big dates to kind of just write those dates down, like, major changes are happening. Major breakdowns are happening. Major explosions are happening. And again, it can be an explosion on any level. Okay. So the lunar eclipse is in Gemini. All right. And so remember the moon, when it's a lunar eclipse, it's a full moon, and it's going to put closure to things. And so because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, it rules communication and speaking and media and news and print and written and spoken words. And so there's going to be a lot of information closing, full moon closure. Okay. And closure on information, or a lot of information, a lot of concepts, information will come to clarity and closure. Okay, so it's like we're confused. I see this, I see that, I see this, I see that, and we're getting confused about it. This will help you, okay? Or not help you, but it'll give us a little bit more like closure, but it'll also make us emotional. And we're like, well, I didn't want it to be that. Anything that comes up is not bad. It just is shifting. It's shifting the phoenix, right? So remember that the moon rules emotions, and it's going to bring up emotions and whatever information that you're meant to learn. And so closure, understanding is going to get revealed. It doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. It just is. Okay. And so it's just present wherever Gemini is. And if you know your chart, look for Gemini, you're going to see where this full moon is going to impact you in your personal life. And then it's going to probably bring up stuff for you to address that content of that information. Okay. But the solution is to move to your higher truth in your heart. Okay. And not your head, which is what I was telling you. You're looking at these screens and saying, program the brain, program the psychology. And you're thinking that's true, and it's not. That's ego truth. The mind is ego truth. The heart is heart truth. That is your inner truth, right? And so programming can get misunderstood when it comes from here, and misunderstood learning when you learn something and it wasn't really necessarily good for you anymore. Go from your heart. Okay, so that's in a nutshell what's going to happen in the next week to 2 weeks. Okay, but we'll go over the moon again and what's happening next week. So let's jump into the drama stew. And why do I call it drama stew? Out of my book, here's the quote: every person, all events in your life are there because you have drawn them there. What you choose to do with them is up to you. Drama is like a home cooked meal, you guys, and you want to eat it, and you want this stew, and you want to feel good, right? This home cooked pot of stew. But then over time, if you just let it sit, it sours. And somehow over the years, you keep making it. Maybe it got lost in translation when you changed the recipe, or you wrote it down, or you forgot an ingredient, or each time someone writes it for you or sends it to you, it's gotten changed. And now it doesn't taste so good, right? And so for a long time, I have struggled. Even in this book, I wrote this, I struggled to understand the reason why so many of us stay in the same place, doing the same thing, expecting different results, which was what has been going on in our planet. On our planet, we've been doing this thing that we've been doing over and over. Tell us what to do, we do it. Tell us what to do, we do it. Tell us what to do, we do it. Can't do that anymore. We are all ascending. I told you, we're all getting light. We're all becoming brighter. We are all ascending. We're all learning how to be more self-responsible, more reliant. And so when you're independent and you're in your power, you don't need anyone to tell you what to do because you're sovereign. Okay. And so what's happening is we're comfortable when we do the same things the same way, even if the results are things we don't ultimately want, right? So doing, watching, eating, experiencing whatever it is that we have, when we have the power to keep our environment the same, we do. We don't like changing it, right? And so what I try to tell people is, yes, we have personally created our stew that we're sitting in, whether it's your home, whether it's your family, whether it's the planet. We've created these scenarios by just using the same recipe, and the recipe can't be used anymore. And so like a chef in a kitchen, those of you on this call, I know there is a chef on this call. we create the pot of stew that's in our lives, okay? And this drama stew starts with a recipe, and one that you have all defined, one that we have all followed, one that we've totally created ourselves, and one that we've possibly even been handed down by someone that we know, and then we own it as ours. We're like, that was their stew, and I keep doing it for myself, going, well, that's just the way it is. It's not your stew, but you were just told this is the best one to eat, so you keep eating it, even though you don't even like it. And so when drama arrives in our lives, it's hard to see that it's our own doing and part of our own drama recipe stew, right? And so we choose to incorporate all the specific ingredients into this recipe. We put all the people, all the circumstances, all the things, i.e. TV shows we watch, programming we watch, social media, institutions we go to, things we participate in, even though we don't like them. And all the things that we want in our lives are basically your pot of stew. And if you looked in there, one thing would be the carrots, one thing would be the vegetables, one thing would be the potatoes, one thing would be the onions, right? And we stir it and we stir it and then we stir it again and we stir it so we can get it to taste better, so we like it better. And we keep hoping every time we stir it that it's going to get better, and we get the same result, and it doesn't make us feel any better. That's what's happening on this planet, okay? Or had happened up to this Phoenix experience, right? And so the example that I want to share with you guys is, it's like a story that I kept getting from this client that sounded like the story that she told me before, and then more than once, and then again and again. And she kept telling me the same story about this drama in her life over and over again. It was the same story, but in just a different sequence. And I asked her, I'm like, okay, so what about this flavor of stew that you're eating is so attractive if you don't like to eat it? And her answer was, and it typically would be each time I would ask her that, she'd say, I don't know. I don't like the ingredients or these people in my life at all. I'm like, really? But you made it. And she responded, I didn't make it. Everyone else in the pot just keeps messing up my life. And I thought, interesting. So she's like, it's not what I want. I try to change, but it never works. Nothing changes. Remember, as hard as this is to hear for you guys, you own the recipe for your own drama stew. And a lot of people don't like hearing that. But at the end of the day, you choose to read, you choose to talk, you choose to accept negative discussions, people, non-solutions in your life. And that's really what happens when we talk about this drama stew, what's happening on the planet, what's happening in our culture right now. We've accepted a recipe for so long that it doesn't work. It doesn't make people involved right or wrong. It just makes the recipe wrong, and we need to change it. And so my husband and I, we've talked about this a lot lately because we've tried to try to apply it to what are we here to learn from this? Because this is what the bigger impact of this whole thing is why are we learning? Okay. And so he and I were talking, and I was like, it's fascinating. We have overcome death. We've overcome long distance, love. We've overcome so many difficult situations. And then this week I had a little mini meltdown, only because I'm sure many of you've heard Washington put a 4-week lockdown for no reason, no facts, but just, it was from the horse's mouth on belief. We believe this is the best thing. Okay. I'm okay with that. You do what you need to do. But I'll give you one guess what we accepted from others who tell he and I what we can't do. Right. And there's this, again, here came Drama Detox again, the book. I have a chapter in Drama Detox, by the way, that says can't is a swear word. So if you need to learn how to stop saying can't, go get Drama Detox and you read the chapter. It'll talk about not saying can't. Right. And so this is what I'm hoping that you all can be inspired to embrace as well. We have to choose to focus and find every solution that supports our personal love. Tony and I do, you do, I do, and we have to work around any roadblock that's blocking you from getting what you want in your heart, not what someone tells you is good or bad, right or wrong. Can't has to be unacceptable in your life. That word, okay? We are either in power, he and I, or or the external power is in power. So either we're in power or the external is in power over us, right? And I'm applying this to all of you. This is my wake up to all of you guys, okay? Do we tell others? Do we broadcast to them? Do we get angry? Do I get disappointed sometimes? Yeah, maybe a little when it fuels my intention to go, wait, this is waking me up to go, no. Am I going to live life on my terms, or am I going to live life on their terms? Could we wallow in this shitty pot of Washington and Oregon drama stew? Absolutely. We totally could wallow in it. Or we can find a way to live in a sovereign state. Sovereign state means independent, within your own power, your own powerful state. That's what's going on. That's the United States being sovereign to the rest of the world, to take care of you, to take care of you. Now take that, strip that off and put it into you, okay? So you're having right now being woken up to see it. Do you have the courage of consciousness, the consciousness courage and affirmation, affirming yourself to saying, this is what's important to me, okay? We have to hold each other accountable to that level, to the courage and neutrality and trust affirmation that God, source, universe is breaking up these systems, these recipes, so that we can eat better stew. That's it. And this is now my job to hold all of you accountable to stop saying can't. And saying, you know what, we can do this, and we can break the systems, and we can start avoiding, we can look at truths that we don't want to look at that are coming up, and they're going to come up and they're going to get worse. So those of you are going, is it going to be over? It's going to be over. There's no over. It's just burning and bring out the phoenix. So this is why I try to explain to people, this is why my husband and I have we researched to the point where there's nothing blocking us from our love. There's nothing stopping us from getting to where we want to go. Okay. It doesn't make them wrong. It just makes years and years and years of Washington and Oregon doing it a certain way to the point now it's crashing. And that's okay. Why be mad at them? I just want to be with my husband or be in love or be seen, right? By him. I just want to see him. That's it. And we find a way. We don't put that part of our sovereign state. That's how I want you to start looking at, get rid of the external and find a way to live your life. This is detoxing your stew, okay? So detoxing your stew, the most important step in ridding drama in your life is awareness. You have to be aware of what's irritating you, okay? And the fastest way to clean your house, basically anyone's house, your internal house, your emotional house, your mental house, your physical health, right, is becoming aware that it needs to be cleaned. Yes, Jamie, totally agree. I agree. Being aware of cleaning that house, I want you to be aware of using the word can't. Any of you, I want you to really kind of get on yourself and look at a perspective. Do I say can't? And when someone tells me I can't do something, do it again and do it again until you find a way to make it a can't, right? So can't, checking yourself for can't would be a good place to start. Often we're just used to situations, so we just miss the need to clean them. You're so used to seeing it that way that pile of books right there on the floor probably could get picked up and you could maybe vacuum or whatever. That's a good way for you to look at it, okay? And so what areas of your life could use the cleanse? Think about what areas you'd like to be able to label or, as having drama in them, and you need to start evaluating them, right? And now you can see that you've made the lifestyle and this recipe and that you've been given it for, again, maybe this recipe is 100 years old, yeah? And maybe it's now time for a new recipe. Now what? How would you do that? So I want you to ask. Ask is the big theme tonight. Ask what you need to learn to make that recipe. As you all know, I am not the best cook, nor do I enjoy it. So if I had to get a recipe to try something new or think a new thought or think a new psychology or think a new health, behavior or a spiritual enlightenment, I would have to go online and search. And I don't just search with one, I search with like 20. I want to make a theme. I always look for patterns. Okay, 4 people have said this instead of 1 or 14 out of the 20. That must be the theme of a truth, okay? So go online and search and start asking whatever's blocking you from not being able to do what you want to do, find a way. When you get the answer you don't like, research and ask for it again 10 times more. And if you must make the new recipe you like, keep doing it till it tastes good. Keep changing the way you think. Keep changing what you do. Keep changing your exercise. You've got to open it up the questions, okay? So but don't complain. This is where I'm watching myself. We all get caught in it. So don't think, oh, we're exempt. It's so easy. It's not easy, because this is changing a lot of history. Okay. But don't complain about one TV station, one social media, one medical doctor, one school of thought that you have been taught one way to believe. Is this your truth? Maybe, or maybe not. Right? But ultimately, it's your recipe to get a new delicious one. If you're miserable, if you're angry, if you're arguing a lot right now, it's probably not the best place for you to be. Okay? So I want you to look at your pot of stew. And then what if someone's asking a question? What if you're the only one seeking the sovereign state out of a couple? So this is where one of us is trying to take care of themselves, and they're trying to make themselves feel better, and they're trying to be in a state of what is good for me. And my point is that just understanding how to make yourself in a better state doesn't mean that the other person's going to catch up to you. You don't need to share it with them. All you need to do is get yourself on a plan and say, this is my plan to make sure I find solutions. So use the word solutions and can't. I'm telling everybody, hey, I'm on a detox. I'm detoxing my mindset and my beliefs from can't. So anything that says I can't do something doesn't mean I'm going to break rules or tell everybody they're right or wrong or good or bad. It's how everybody thinks about all the energy going on the planet. Y'all know how I feel about health. You're not researching enough. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So let me just share this with you guys. Let's share this screen. I want you guys to consider this as your pot of stew. This is your pot of stew right here, okay? This is one of my zodiac wheels that I teach when we're teaching how to look at your self-worth. I want you to consider this is all your pot of stew, and not all of you have the same impact, right? And I want you to look at this wheel. On this wheel, I want you to choose the weak ingredients in your life, right? Which institution is crashing right now? And you're like, oh, I'm not great with self-confidence and self-esteem. I need to be more of a warrior. So now that they're making me feel nervous and insecure, I gotta find a way to go research and help myself be more confident. Ooh, my money and stress, that's getting me built out. I've got to research. My communication really sucks right now. I'm really yelling at everybody and calling them names. Or I need to shut up and say nothing and just step back and watch and trust spirit, because this is a question I'm trying to get to you, Joe. Is when they're asking, and if you feel like you're the only one in a partnership, I want you to communicate to spirit. And we talked about this a couple calls ago. Talk to spirit, talk to source, ask for opportunities to be heard and seen in a higher light. Sometimes we're too bright. And when you're too bright, that's what's making it difficult. And we need to wait until someone else can see your light and see your institution, okay? So I want you to look at yourself and circle or write down the one on this wheel. This is everybody. We all have this stuff in us, but some of it's easy. Home and family is easy for me. Kids and fun. Fun is not easy for me. I told you I work on fun all the time. Health has come up for me a lot in my life. So that's something I have to really work on. And I have to be honest with you. That's one of the institutions I'm grateful that's crashing, because it's not honest. It's not truthful. It's not holistic. It's not whole body health and wellness. It's one-sided and one pill. And that's not how our universe is. That's not how our world works. That's not how humans are, your nature. Okay. So I want you to look at this wheel. Is it your career? Is it change? Are you struggling with change? What do you need to investigate in order to allow yourself to be more emotionally settled and allow everything to break down so you can change into the new, into the sign of like I said, the Phoenix? Is your spirituality, your faith and knowledge changing, your intuition, all of these things? How do you fit into the world? Do you not fit right now? Stop talking. Ask spirit for help. Okay. So I want you to look at the institutions that are crashing, and I want you to get excited and see, ooh, this area in my life that kind of is struggles. I struggle with it a lot. Probably most of your life, you've struggled with one of these areas. And I want you to go, okay, if this institution, education, medicine, government, what else is crashing? Media. There's a lot going on. Everybody's like, where do we find you now? Are you going to stay on Facebook? Or all these different things happening? Yes. And I'm like, well, do I market there? Do I market here? Everything's changing. And I was like, well, I don't know how to market the business differently now because I'm going to have to change. And I was like, it'll show up. And I asked spirit. Just like last week, I told you guys to go check your spirit guides and your board of directors. They will help you if you ask. Okay, so I'll pull this back up again, but if not, guys, this wheel is on my website. Okay, so if you want to look at this wheel more or print it and then circle it, or even ask family members, like what would you want to work on right now? And if you had to look for a part of this where you go, I can't heal my health. I can't because it's been this way my whole life. I can't do it. You got to change it and go, no, I can. And I'm going to go research the crap out of this for the next 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years until I'm better. Or I've got to learn to have more fun. What would be on my fun? Like, you've got to find it and start changing the can't into can. That's what this planet is shifting into right now. Okay. All right. Let me stop the share real quick. Okay. So that's what's coming up, guys. Everybody's stuff is coming up, and that is a wheel of every human, right? We all have all of that in us, and parts of it is easy for some and parts of it is difficult for another. There's no right or wrong, and no one's better and no one's less. Okay. And so then we move into that Piscean Neptunian energy I was sharing with you. If you're asking source for help, they're going to put opportunities in front of you where you don't have to speak words. Situations, something will appear, a truth will appear for someone that you're trying to get them to understand and they don't try to prove it to them. Let them learn on their own. They will. Waves of truth. What does waves of truth mean when I'm saying stuff's going to show up, then it's going to pull back and pull up? That's uncomfortable for anybody. You're like, I just got settled, now change. I just got settled, now change. How fun is that for anybody? I'm so used to it. That's why it doesn't really bother me as much, other than there are certain things that are important for me. And when those things get tapped on, that's what gets me going. Okay. And so someone had several, I shouldn't say someone, I had several questions keep asking me about the lighthouse. Okay. And so what does shine your lighthouse mean now? Like, they're like, okay, we got it, be brighter, be loving, but what does it mean now? And being bright and unmoving to the boats in the darkness. Okay. That's what's going on. It doesn't mean that we're not all shining, but the best description I can give you is that when you shine, millions of others are shining their joy and responsibility. We have so much light on the planet right now. I want you to think of it that way. So you have this huge planet, and there's not just you and me and you and you. There are billions of people shining right now. And because there's so much light, this is why the systems of darkness are crashing, because they're easy to see right now. And there are going to be things that are very dark or that are very unhealthy that you just thought, no way. You won't be able to not see them, because it's like walking into a room and instead of flipping the light, you are the light. And so there are so many of us, whatever's dark on this planet is getting a lot easier to see. Okay. So the lights are illuminating dark rooms. There's no incorrect way to look at any structure or person or system that is not lit up at the moment and or crashing. And so I want people to understand that's not for you to be looking at. You're the lighthouse, so you shouldn't be worrying about anyone following or looking or trying to understand why you're so lit up. You just need to shine. Okay. And so it's simply where people are on the planet right now, consciously. Some people, I told you, are down at shame and guilt and blame and humiliation and hate and anger. And I told you, we're moving from hate and anger to pride and scorn. Our goal is to get up to courage and affirmations. So you shining keeps you above the line in courage and affirmation. Will you dip? We've talked about this. You will dip and you'll be angry one day, as I was angry the other day. Then I came out of it. My husband was awesome and he pulled me out and we're good. But I was frustrated. Okay. And then we have to purge it out. We go, that's right. No. I want to focus on courage and affirmation. And so trying to tell people where their consciousness is, again, when two people, you're trying to be sovereign and someone isn't at a consciousness level as you, leave them alone. They'll get there when you're shining. That boat will find its way in the darkness. Go, oh, that's how it's like to be brighter. Okay. So, or they're not, and they're going to crash and burn in the ashes. It's just that basic, vibrationally, energetically. Okay. But your lighthouse is part of a collective. This is a collective consciousness. Okay. So the collective are all the billions of people lighting up right now. And your light turns you into oneness of light. So you're one of all these lights around the planet. Okay. And it's so I just want you guys to think of it where I started this call is it's going to be very hard from this point forward to go backwards, given how many of you are on the planet that are like you. Okay. And so it's probably going to be a slower journey than many of you are going to like, because a lot of you are like, I want it done tomorrow, right? And we're in this instant gratification society, so that's not helping anything. But staying in that solver neutral state of love, that state of courage and affirmation, just to yourself, will break any darkness and negativity from your path. Just going, okay, well, I have the courage to know my truth. And if that's your truth, I'm gonna let it be. And that's okay. And I believe in you and I'm okay with that. But you don't have to stay there, because they will leave if they're too uncomfortable being in your light. You don't need to force them into your light. The universe will say, do you like it? No. And it's going to keep doing this to you. Okay. The universe is going to keep saying, do you like this? No. Okay. And then you do a turn. Do you like this? Like a compass? Nope. Do a turn. Nope. Nope. Turn. Do you like it here? Nope. Turn again. And this universe is literally, the planets, source energy is literally trying to put you at a 180-degree turn in another direction, so that is completely different for you. Okay. It's going to be completely different than the one you've been taught, you know, on the TV and in your, you know, in the screens and in our digital world and in our education. Everything's going to change 180 degrees. So basically what's doing is it's freeing you to live your unique and beautiful and gorgeous, amazing selves. That's what's happening. It's trying to make you be amazing and unique. And so in order for a lot of this stuff to happen, I'm trying to tell you, please let the systems crash. Okay. Don't be mad. Just find a way to get out of can't. When someone tells you can't, it's their can't. It's not your can't. Repeat after me. Their can't, not your can't. Okay. So it's time to start truly addressing your lighthouses. All right. The truth is going to surface, and it's true that it's going to set you free in your personal experiences. And I want you to look at the zodiac wheel I just showed you and choose that area of your life that's appearing weakest at the moment, because and it may not bother anyone else in their life or your life to them. But for you, if it's flaring up, then you look at it. For me, I don't care about TV crashing. I don't care about the media crashing, because I don't watch it. Right. So not a big deal to me. Other people are like, oh, I can't believe it. And it's okay. Right. But I care about health and the rebirth of holistic health back on this planet. And for all of us, not just one pill, not this one pill society, because it's not healthy for us. Right. And not just those who research it, like my husband and I, and those in my social group or my bigger group. We talk about holistic healing, not just one line healing, right? And so it's not their can't, it's mine, right? And I love it. Good job, Jamie. I'm gonna call you on it. So your weak spot in life is where you see truth that you dislike. Okay, that's where you're gonna be weak. You're gonna be like, that's not true. Well, it's probably true for them, and you have to say, if it doesn't bother you, move on. If it bothers you, you need to work on it. So I dislike seeing past emotions surface regarding imprisonment. When people have a lot of control and they want to control us and tell us what to do, that's not a good deal for me. I don't like being controlled. And a lot of people don't. I am not in jail. And so then it triggers me for this small amount of time. And then I go, oh, you know what? And then I go, well, what do you want, Dawn? Come back to the present. You are free. Go do what you want to do. And then I come back out of it. But I need to acknowledge it, right? You need to go, ooh, do I not like being controlled and imprisoned and in jail? No. So you've got to reset. Nothing changed but my thoughts. Nothing's going to change for any of you on that wheel, but your thoughts about it, because they've been programmed. That psychology, like I said, for 50 years, you've been watching a screen telling you to go eat Burger King. And I love French fries. So then I was always like, ooh, French fries would be really good right now. So what truth are you avoiding taking responsibility for you to allow the weak spot cycling in your life? What secrets are surfacing? It's that kind of stuff, right? For me, it was health. I dealt with it. It came up and now I feel so much better. I feel like the phoenix in my health. So I'm asking the entire planet, everyone on this call, everyone on the calls to come, to take off the rose-colored glasses and open your eyes. There will be things externally you don't like, and it will be up to you to go inside and change you so you vibrate at a different place than the thing you dislike. That's it. Because you can't see things you dislike if you're not vibrating there. If you're not vibrating at guilt, shame, anger, hate, pride, scorn. I'm not too proud to say I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot, according to my husband. I know, honey, you're always right. So source, universe, God wants us to see our weak spots to fill in with light. That's it. Okay. It wants you guys in power. Simply seeing your weaknesses allows you to move away from it. And awareness is very powerful because you now know what you don't want. So instead of ignoring and becoming delusional, which is Pisces, that's that Pisces energy I told you on the 27th, and you allow that to get stronger, and that some stranger, get delusional that some stranger is going to fix what you refuse to see that you made in some nasty stew. I would probably make the nasty stew, by the way. Our planet is numb, or it has been numb, I should say, to things that no longer serve us because it's been that way for thousands of years, right? That genetically, energetically, watching over and over thousands of years of things that we didn't even realize that aren't serving us. And now it's possibly hindering us and making us feel imprisoned, right? This is everyone on the planet. So don't take it so personal. Turn it into a confidence state and go, cool, I can do this. I'm going to get out of it. Okay. And we're all awakening to this reality of what others want for us and going, because that's become so normalized. If that's what they tell us, that's okay. Things that you don't want are just as repetitive, and normal is not necessarily wanted. Okay. And so for many of you who've worked with me one-on-one, this is your iPod on repeat. Okay. You can learn about repeating habits, your own specific personal repeating habits, by the way, in your iPod, in the relationship toolbox on my website, the IDI Academy, or upcoming, by the way, December 3rd. Don't let me forget the end. I always forget to tell you guys all this stuff. December 5th, my assistant's like, don't forget to talk about December 5th is a relationship webinar is coming up, and we're going to talk about the iPod and that. So if you want to learn about your internal repetitive crap that you have to get rid of, it's in there. So you can do it digitally online, or you can do it on the webinar. But your iPod is where we express unwanted childhood emotions, right? Unknowingly you're doing it out of habit. You don't even know you're doing it. Most clients say to me, I would never act like my mom and dad. And then they start working with me only to see that they've been doing it for years. And it's not bad about mom and dad. Mom and dad aren't bad. They didn't do anything wrong. They were just being them. You're the one that got programmed watching it. And then we don't know how to get out of it. Okay. So we're now literally being asked to melt the past into our now and drop into our center. Again, lighthouses don't move, guys. They just shine. They don't be upset. This neutrality, people are like, well, how do you be neutral and not have an impact, not be upset? Neutral doesn't mean nothing. It just means you don't get people to come to your side. You don't need them to move. You don't need them to force you. They'll come when they're wanting to. That's the difference. Neutral doesn't mean you don't pick a side. You don't pick a thing. What you pick, if you pick left or right, up or down, doesn't matter. It's okay. That's your neutral. And when you're ready to get off and move your neutral somewhere else, you'll shine a different vibration of light. Okay. But know that earth, air, fire, and water, those are elements that have been forgotten from the ancient shamans to the tribes to the cave dwellers, Mesopotamia, so far back in time, thousands of years, our ancestors who used to use the elements to live free, right? They didn't ask someone, oh, how should I spend my money? How should I plant these seeds? When should I water the earth so it's happy and I'm happy too, right? And so, yes, Jamie, it's on my website, the December 5th. Oh, I could be wrong on my date. Don't mark my date because she says it's Saturday and I don't think it's a Saturday. I think it's a Thursday. So I'm off on my dates because I told you I brought it up just ad lib. I'll get it to you, Jamie. I'll let you know what the website or the date is. So you got to look back in time. We are bringing the elements and the shamans, and like I said, the ancients asked the universe, they asked God, they asked source to guide them. And we have become so separated from our spiritual life, and source is asking us to reconnect. Planet and universe, call it what you want. Call it God, call it angels, call it spirit, call it source. I don't care what you call it. Thank you, Jamie the third. Okay. So we're resetting now, and that's what's uncomfortable. And this is the great reset, right? Resetting to oneness and one body, mind, spirit. And many don't realize that the digital daily programming is blocking you from that. Very few are happy at the moment because we've stopped thinking for ourselves. We've stopped thinking here in our heart. We've gotten up here. Okay. So what do you need to be happy right now? No one can make you happy. You are responsible for your happiness, your health, your emotions, your spiritual awakening. My husband's cancer taught us so much about who has power. And you've been told you don't have power for so long. That would be you. Again, you have power, guys. You have to use it. When he recovered, like this miraculous full recovery in like 8 weeks time, I always told him, God, it's just like, it's phenomenal. They wanted him to stay on all these toxic medicines for a year. Get ready, just in case. No logic, no reason for him, a super healthy person now, to be doing what they were asking. And when my husband questioned the doctor, this is what he said. He said, it's all about money and getting paid. It's not about your health and an organic, holistic options. We only have time to offer you what gets us paid. And this is no lie. He recorded it, by the way. I don't know if the doctor knows, but my husband does stuff like that. So he recorded the doctor saying this. And what's fascinating is we don't even know we have this power. This is no different than what you are all being asked to do right now. You are asked to do what you're told, but no logic and reasoning if you are a fully healthy person. There's no logic and reasoning, okay? He had more confidence in his choices to say no and make better choices. Why? Because he had knowledge. He had asked questions. He kept asking 20 questions, and then he would ask 20 more times. Did he reject any form of healing? No, he actually did all of it. But when he did the research, and we did it together, we did it before, we did it during, we did it after, so he could make a choice for himself, and not a doctor considered him a number, not a government person, not a teacher, not, my kids get frustrated, like, Mom, you have to really consider, you never ask us to get good grades. Why? Because no teacher's going to tell you you're freaking brilliant because they gave you a D or a C or a B or an A. That's insane. So we give people the power over us, and many don't know better. That's why I'm bringing this up. And so just because many don't know better, just like we would have never known better without researching and looking for more. So I'm just asking you guys, stop accepting labels and titles and people's words for your truth. I'm saying it's not your truth. It's their truth. And that's okay too, right? But most of us, I want you to know, most of what you're told doesn't meet your truth. Almost 95% of what you're told does not meet your truth. Most of my clients are very frustrated because when they come to me and they're living their life, they're not living their truth. And it's time to question everything on your TVs and the screens that you're watching. If you guys, again, I'm going to bring it up again. So the social dilemma, watch it. You'll understand where I'm coming from. It's very true. So if something on your screen triggers you, I want you to check 4 more sources to verify it's true, or check 15 more. I don't care what you need to do. Start researching your area of weakness in your life. Learn every aspect of growth, how you become happier. There is not a one pill option on TV that they've been offering you for the last 50 years, or Burger King. Burger King does make you happy, by the way, French fries. I know. Can you tell I'm hungry? I haven't eaten today yet, so I'm going to go have French fries. My own, not Burger King, but yes. So if you keep waiting for one pill, another person, someone else to make you happy, I can tell you're going to be disappointed. Guaranteed. You're going to be disappointed if you don't look for yourself. Okay. So not once this year, guys, and I want you guys to think about this on a big scale. Not once this year have you heard any media or any medical professional offer you self-responsibility option to improve your immune system, to improve your mental health system, which is why I work in that system all the time, of improving people's mental health and showing you how fucking powerful you are, instead of being told you're not good enough, you can't do this, you don't know how to take care of you. And that's total bullshit. So sorry, your immune system, your mental health, and especially your spiritual truths. No one's helping you. No one's reaching outside of that. And there are many options. And so instead, I want you to try this helpful option. If it was, instead, they're telling you, shut up and don't ask questions. And it's got, I want you to understand, the planet has got the entire planet has got its attention. All this telling you no, guess what? It got all your attention. And now you can see, get ready, why this is called the Great Awakening. Do you understand why what we're going through right now? And I tell you, I don't address any of this political bullshit because it's energy. And we are all going, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? It's the Great Awakening. And it's a planet of people awakening, right? So controls are not working anymore. And this new Earth ascension, which I was telling you, we're all lightening up and raising up our personal healing. So your sovereign responsibility and owning your life. Okay. Why? Because without body, mind, and spirit, you are a programmed robot and no power. You have no power. And that's not nature. And you are all organic and natural. And so the crashing of these institutions is a sign that the universe is dissolving all that you have seen, that has lack of integrity, lack of, unlovingness, and it's starting to basically reset all of our DNA. And it's currently rebuilding, regenerating, rebirthing to your truest original earth, air, fire, water origination from the ancestors. And I'm talking thousands of years. I'm not just talking 20, 30 years ago. So this is the ancients' prophecy, you guys. It's in the planets. It has been predicted through lifetimes of generations, and it is now in the stars, in the sky as we speak. You're not getting out of it. And unfortunately, Pluto's death and rebirth, Phoenix energy, shall I say, is in the process of breaking down old dark systems. And it's not easy, but it's necessary. Okay. And so this is why I'm so happy for the crashing of all these institutions, the global awakening reset. That's what's happening. So do I wish people in pain? Never, never. Not, but in my work, what I've realized is we only wake up if the pain is great enough. So if you can hear me urging you to look at your internal crap, your sadness, your frustrations, your disappointments, and it's going to help you become more confident, because knowledge is power. And the more you learn, the more you reset, the better off you'll be. So my tip is, when this feels like waves, right? I don't want you to get frustrated, because that's the planets, that's what they're doing right now. I just want you to say, all right, I feel better now, right? Okay, cool. Because this is what you're going to start feeling. All right, I feel better now, right? No, I'm not. No, I'm not better today. Wait, what? Wait, no, I'm good. I'm good, right? No, wait, no, I'm not. And you're really like, what the heck? Right? And that's what's happening to everybody. They're like, I don't understand. I'm here again. This is this ebb and flow, this waves of truth. And each time you're going to get it, whether it's on the physical level, mental level, spiritual message, when you get a download of truth, you're going to have to reset yourself to go, okay, I can do this. And then you're going to digest it, calm for a bit, then reset and repeat. And this, guys, get ready. I know you're going to like this. This is going to continue into next year. Okay. So it's not bad, because now you know it's okay to let it go and start over on the reset. All right. So many wanted me to sugarcoat this shit. And I can't be like any less than what's really happening. And it's so beautiful, but it's not about me encouraging you guys to do neutral or do nothing. It's about being neutral for yourself and not expecting anyone else to come be in your lighthouse. Just know that there are billions of lighthouses doing the same thing you're doing. And this crashing is to help you see your truth. And what part of the wheel did you circle? Now I want you to go there. And I thought it was my ups and downs of old lady hormones. I love that. Marianne, I love you. So yeah, and someone else said, yep, yesterday felt so good. Today I feel exhausted. Thank you, guys. That's exactly what I've been trying to share with everybody. Some of you are going to feel it emotional. Some of you are going to feel it hormonal. Some of you are going to feel it mentally. Like you feel like, God, I was happy and now I'm not, and happy and now I'm not. And then some of you are going to feel it spiritually. Like I feel like I'm connected to source, and then I'm not, and then I am, and then I'm not. Okay, so tip number one, I want you to start today researching the crap out of whatever you feel weak in and take back your power in the areas that need it, whether it's things, thoughts, or truth. Okay, turn off your TV and go into nature. Ask if there's a natural option for this, and then find 50 of them. Okay, source is waking you up. It's not bad. It's just making you aware of your sovereign self, of how powerful you are. And you will be stronger, and you will be more powerful in the end. You are incredibly unique, and source is awakening you to your greatness within. We just have to dig. Okay. So these are a couple questions that came up. I'm going to give this an extra 5 minutes here, guys. We're right at 7, but I'm going to finish you off with what else came up. So This question came up. What is the new earth or the new world? Is it a place? Okay, so it's not a place. We're still on the planet. You're not going anywhere. It's a vibration, right? It's a way of living, right? And so some will feel kind of as if you are I call it glitching. Sometimes I feel like I glitch, right? Like you're back and forth between 3D and 5D and 3D and 4D and 3D and 5D, right? And so it sounds weird, but it happens to me a lot lately because I do a lot of dimensional traveling and meditation. And so I'm getting better at that, the flow of truth, right? The waves, right? And so I get like, it's like where I'm at. I'm like, well, I was here. I thought I was here. I was just here, but wait, what was I doing? And all of a sudden I'm like, I thought I already did that. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. Oh, no, I did. Now I don't care. Oh, I was going to go do that, but now I don't really want to do that anymore. Right. And it's just us shifting our vibration into the higher vibrations. That's what the new earth is, just you changing consciousness and living on a parallel reality. Some will not want to choose that. Okay. But it's an energy vibration, okay? And some will stay in a 3D heavy vibration. That's the darkness. And it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just, it's heavier, okay? And some will choose to live in a lighter vibrational state where you choose to vibrate. It's completely up to you what you want your life to look like, light or heavy, dark or light, right? And it's a simple state of consciousness. It's not a place, it's a vibration. And so those of us who are shifting, there are going to be times when you're like, wait, did I forget to do that? Or why didn't I? It's this rising of the vibration and changing kind of like the reality that you choose to live in a higher, more loving reality. Okay. And so this glitching is a good term because you're going into parallel lives and parallel vibrations. We're not going to talk about that tonight because that would be a whole nother hour. Right. And so people keep saying, yeah, I thought those were premature senior moments. No, actually your brains are downloading more higher consciousness, which is actually even better for those senior moments. Okay. So anyway, okay. So keep throwing out the questions or terms, you guys, because you're doing awesome and I love it. Tonight's tips. Remember, expect the government and systems and institutions that you know that you've put a lot of trust into to crash as you know them. Doesn't mean they're going away. They're not going away. They're just going to change. Okay. So expect rebirth to be the outcome of this breakdown. Okay. Number 2, ask. Start thinking for yourself. Ask again. Think for yourself. Do I want this? Do I want to take 2 years worth of chemo? Do I want toxins in my body for 2 years? No, I really don't. Was there another option? Well, not that we know of. Okay, well, let me get back to you. Let me ask. Ask again. Ask again. Research and then ask again. Okay. More questions are your calm. Those are your lighthouse moments, right? Don't explain, don't convince, just learn. The third point, what did we talk about? Systems. What systems are crashing that you need to let crash, right? How is your life in a holographic image to the one that you're watching crash? Okay. So what you don't like in someone typically will be something you're vibrating in you that you either need to let go of or you need to be more of. And it's hard to determine that. So we just got to get back into center, back into heart math. I call it heart thinking. What adds up in your heart, not in your head. Okay. And then remember, I don't know, several months ago or weeks ago, I can't remember when I taught you this, but start living in the 30-minute now living. Okay. Remember I gave you that tip of the 30 minutes of now. Find what you need, how you can be encouraged and love right now. Like you're like, God, I'm crying all of a sudden, or I'm yelling at someone, or I'm resting from someone, I'm singing, I'm writing, I'm laughing, or I'm just working in peace, or I'm angry, or I don't know what's going on. Just be where you need to be for 30 minutes, right? And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm fine. Then I'm not. Then I'm fine. Just get where you're going. 30 minutes of a new wave. Let it appear, reset, and then start 30 more minutes. And get yourself back to love, back to courage, and work on 30-minute windows right now, as opposed to thinking you've got to plan out, because people are very upset. They have nothing to look forward to. My answer is, oh, yes, you do. It's beautiful and it's light and that's what I'm trying to get you to stay in that space. Okay, so tonight's question: what drama stew have you eaten for years or generations that needs a new recipe? Okay, what have you watched, experienced, accepted that no longer serves you? Asking for the new, asking for it to be new for you will bring you much yummier version. Okay. And this is important, because sometimes we think just because we've eaten it this way forever, and then someone brings a new casserole or stew to your party and you're like, oh, yours is so much better. You had no idea there was another version until you opened up, until you thought about it and just said, okay, maybe I should ask. So remember, it doesn't matter if someone else has a can't. I'm going to end on that tonight. It doesn't matter if it's their can't. It doesn't need to be your can't. That's the only thing shifting us between a new reality, a new fifth dimensional reality, a new 5D, a higher dimension of consciousness, courage, affirmation, trust, neutrality, love, acceptance. That's a high place. It's a high vibration. And the only way that shifts is through can't. Just because they tell you you can't doesn't make it true. Just because they tell you you can doesn't mean you want to. You might want to do something else. And every time someone externally tells me I can't, all it does is make me find a new solution. And I'm turning into a badass. And my husband, he blows my mind sometimes, going, no, this is the new way we're going to do it. I'm like, okay. So put people in your group, in your tribe, and get onto the truth tribe, get onto the discussions and say, you know what? Someone's telling me I can't. I just am looking for solutions. Family, friends, social. Throw a message at me if you have to. I'm on social media on every single day. You can ask questions there. Okay. Any questions? Anyone want to finish up? And if not, we can close up the call. We did go over a little bit tonight, but there's such a big thing going on the planet right now. I want you to all understand is we are going through the Phoenix, and it's good. This is really good. And I know it's hard. Trust the waves, and trust that the waves aren't going away, because that Neptune is such a beautiful planet. It's like the coolest planet too, because its symbol is a pitchfork. And so it's this cool trident. It's really beautiful. And so I wish I had a cool one like that, but it's not. So those of you who have been on the call tonight, thank you. If you have any questions, you know how to find me. I love you, and I'm going to send you brightest blessings every day. If you need anything, you know where to get me. I'm going to close the call out, and we will find each other on Monday. Okay. All right, guys, have a good night. Take care.